You don't have to wait a lifetime to find out is somebody a winner or a loser. You got a lot of losers, mostly losers, fortunately. It's a good thing to have a lot of losers. I always like to hang around with losers, actually, because it makes me feel better.
Donald Trump is having a very, very bad couple of weeks. By all accounts, he is nothing more than a big, fat loser. That's right, he has a losing streak that keeps on trucking. And to look for evidence, you need to look no further than the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. You know, the strait that we're fighting to keep open, and somehow we're going to blockade it to keep it open. You know, Donald Trump announced this naval blockade on the Strait of Hormuz as part of these ceasefire terms. And it was supposed to keep some pressure on Chinese tankers and all of that. Reuters showed data that shows that the Chinese tanker went through anyway. It was U.S. sanctioned. And somehow our Navy let it slip through the Strait of Hormuz. Bill O'Reilly, yes, Bill O'Reilly himself went out there to say that the Iran war, it's going badly for Trump. And that if it continues to go badly, he will be seen in history as a loser of the war. If Bill O'Reilly is calling you a loser, you must really be a loser. Another loss for Donald Trump, the DoorDash stunt on Monday, having the political magic of his 2024 McDonald's campaign. He had a photo op with a DoorDash grandma coming to the White House, delivering him his favorite McDonald's, all to promote his no tax on tips initiative. And the DoorDash grandma answered a few of Donald Trump's questions, saying that the no tax on tips have saved her thousands of dollars. But she, of course, wouldn't go along with Donald Trump when he tried to press her on other issues like whether or not she voted for him and whether or not she supports his ban on transgender athletes. You know, the real important stuff.
They want to have men playing in women's sports. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't? I'll bet you do.
No, I'm here about
pizza.
no tax on tips.
Yeah. Okay.
But eagle-eyed observers of this stunt noticed something staggering about this DoorDash grandma. Her name is Sharon Simmons. And Sharon Simmons has also testified to Congress about the tax on tips. And depending on which reporter she talked to, the amount of money that she saved is anywhere from $4,000 to $3,000 to $11,000, just depending on who's interviewing her even on the same day. And you know what? Her story is touching. She might be a crisis actor, but her story is touching. Her husband has cancer, and that is why she's doing these additional DoorDash deliveries and relying on tips. The Trump administration doesn't realize that having a DoorDash grandma have to deliver for DoorDash and save tips to help her husband who has cancer isn't the flex they think it is. This is the administration that is cutting healthcare benefits. And we are the only country, the only developed country in the world that has this problem where you can go broke and become homeless by getting cancer. Absolutely shameful. Another huge loss for Donald Trump. And by the way, the head of DoorDash, he had a great PR meltdown all over X, all over the internet, trying to defend this stunt. And even he, in defending the stunt, says that it was staged. Absolutely shameful. The next Donald Trump lost the Jesus AI image. He had his Christian base jump all down his throat because of that awful image. It looked like a second grader and all the cool action figures that they have. I've got a nurse. I've got a soldier. I've got Sauron in the clouds and daytime fireworks and some plumber dude in the background and a fighter jet. And Donald Trump is Jesus and healing the sick. Of course, that's going to get blowback. Look, I'm not saying that MAGA Christians are anywhere close to regular Christians. They aren't. They are not Christians by a long shot. But even they have a line. And Donald Trump crossed that line with this AI image. Yet another loss for Donald Trump.
Loser! Let's go, Ace. Loser.
And the losses, they kept stacking up. The Wall Street Journal lawsuit, it was tossed. Donald Trump lost a lawsuit because he tried to sue the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion for them saying things that he didn't like about the Epstein files. In Congress, he cannot build a coalition to extend FISA. He can't get enough Republican votes. Mike Johnson says that he's not going to make the changes that Republicans want. Republicans want to the FISA bill. So now Donald Trump is having to summon these naysayers to the White House, and he can't get the votes. Yet another loss. The losses keep mounting for Donald Trump, and at some point, we're hoping he taps out. Do me a favor. I don't want you guys to tap out. I don't want you to tap in. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you do that, it keeps stories like this alive.